Annyeonghaseyo! I'm bored in Korea. I'm bored in Korea, so I'm playing board games in Korea. Today, we are playing Dune Imperium. We are the iconic families from the Dune franchise, and we're using our agents and plots to try to control the spice planet Arrakis. The spice must flow. If you enjoy the videos, please subscribe and give a thumbs up. Now, let's get to the action. Welcome everyone, we're going to be playing Dune Imperium today. With me we have Harvest and MagicPokey. MagicPokey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, my name is MagicPokey, and I'm very happy to be here.
Great. Harvest?
Hey, I'm Harvest, and I'm happy to be playing Dune. We did a practice game yesterday, and I'm ready to try it for the first time.
Quote unquote first time. Let me give
I'll take
a
it.
brief overview of this game. So the main mechanisms of this game is a worker placement. So we have 2 workers each that we can place out on the board, and deck building. We have a hand of cards and a deck of cards, and we'll be able to buy new cards in the future to make our deck stronger. The way the worker placement works is, if you look on the left side of my cards here, we have these little icons. These icons refer to different locations on the map. So we have the triangle spaces, circle spaces, pentagons, and then the different factions in the Dune universe. So if I play one of my cards, I look at the icons, and that tells me where I can place my agents. The different locations on the board all provide different resources. So the triangle spaces typically provide you with the spice resources. The deeper you go into the desert, though, the more likely you are to need water. So you would need 2 water in order to go to the Great Flat here. But because it's deeper in the desert, you would get more spice. The circle spaces typically get you military type resources. So you can get cubes, which represent your garrison troops. You can get water, additional cards from your deck, and intrigue cards. Intrigue cards could be something that allow you to influence combat, or they could provide you with end game bonuses, or they could be mid-game resource benefits. The pentagon shapes is for the council. So the council will allow you to get influence in the universe, or you could rally some troops, purchase one of your additional workers, the Swordmaster, or hire a Mentat. And then the factions are where a lot of the intrigue comes in. Because whenever you place your agent on one of the faction spaces, your influence with that faction goes up. And this icon right here is the victory point icon. So factions are a great way to score victory points. But the Fremen will provide you with water and garrison troops. The Bene Gesserit will give you intrigue cards and allow you to trash cards from your deck and draw more cards. The Spacing Guild will get you a fold space card. This is the only card in the game that allow you to go to any location, because they can fold space and get you there immediately. They can also transport a huge amount of troops and provide you with some water. And then the Emperor can give you some money and some intrigue cards and garrison troops. So that is a brief overview of the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at our faction leaders. Harvest, would you like to start out with Paul Atreides?
Yeah, sure. You might know this, how he plays better than I do, but I'm playing Paul Atreides, who I believe is the main character in Dune.
Yep.
And he has a pretty basic gameplay mechanic where if I use his Signet Ring card, I'm able to just draw a card. And my passive ability, which is on the left side of the card, lets me just, at any time, I can look at the top card of my deck, so I can kind of see what's coming up and know if I'd like to draw a card, for example, if I have my Signet Ring in my hand, if it's worth playing it to get my top card.
Good point, yeah.
So I guess the way that Paul is usually played is kind of like maybe a Magic the Gathering blue deck, where I'm trying to draw cards and discard cards and kind of maintain the flow of cards in my hand.
Yeah.
And that's how I intend to try to play. I hope these other guys didn't hear me, but yeah, that's how I intend to play the game. We're going to see how it goes.
Yeah. Typically in a deck building game like this, the the more efficiently you can cycle through your deck by drawing cards and discarding cards, it's going to be a very powerful strategy. So I think that's a great way for you to go. I'm going to be I'm going to be playing Helena Richizi. My passive ability is enemy agents don't block your agents at Pentagon and the blue circle spaces. So typically only one agent can go to any single space, but I can always go to a circle or a Pentagon space. So I'm going to try to save those for my second actions, just because I don't have to be worried about someone blocking me off. So I want to go to somewhere where someone can block me off first. And then if I need to go here, I still can. And then my Signet Ring ability is Manipulate. I can remove and replace a card in the Imperium row. During my reveal turn this round, I can acquire the removed card for 1 cost less. So this is the Imperium row, and in the top right you can see how much each card costs. So if I play my Signet Ring, I can take one of these cards off to the side so that no one else can buy it, and then I can get it cheaper for myself. I can see myself using this in 2 ways. I can use it for my own personal benefit, so if I wanted to get maybe I wanted to get the Smuggler's Thopter, but I only had 3 money, or 3 influence, I can remove it from the row, and then it costs me 3. Bam, I got it. Or I can be a little bit more aggressive with it, and if I know my opponents want the Bene Gesserit Sisters, I could remove that from the row so it's unavailable for them to buy. Pokey, who are you being?
I will be playing Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. This large boy is the master schemer in the Dune universe. At the start of the game, I secretly choose 2 factions of the 4, and whenever I deploy 4 or more troops to the conflict in a single turn, I reveal my choices and I immediately gain 1 influence with each. When I use my Signet Ring, I can pay a money to draw an intrigue card. He's kind of like the guy from Game of Thrones, the bald guy. That's his role. He's constantly shifting alliances and making intrigue stuff happen.
Okay. I can see that reference.
What is his name? I want to say Littlefinger, but that's not Littlefinger. Varys.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's funny, I wanted to say Littlefinger too. I'm like, no, that's the skinny guy.
So is your Master Stroke ability, is that just kind of used to get some bonus victory points?
Well,
you can only use it once, right? So you can. It's just kind of a good way to boost your victory points pretty quickly.
It can be used for that. Like if I'm already at 1 faction with the 2 that I've chosen, and I use the Master Stroke, then I'll bump up to the 2nd level and get the victory points for it. But if you notice on the board, there's also some spaces you can't go to without faction. Specifically, the Siege Tabor here, where you have to have 2 influence with the Fremen before you can go there. And that's one of the few spaces you can go to get water without having to use a special card.
Okay.
And then there's other ones that there are certain cards in the row up top that give you things when you have
I see.
faction bonuses.
Oh, okay, you're right. Yeah, so you can use it as kind of a quick access to these factions. Interesting.
Right, like if I had 2 if I had 2 influence in the Spacers Guild, then when I play the Smuggler's Thopter, I would draw 2 cards.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So my whole plan is to keep things secret until my Master Stroke goes off, and then it blows up in your face. And then I kind of hope that I can gather enough of a lead there that I can maintain it and run out the victory.
Glorious.
Good luck.
Good luck to you fellows.
All right, well, I believe we're ready to begin. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
All right. I have the first player marker, so I will be going first. And the first thing I'm going to do is play my Signet Ring. So I'm going to be using, if you look in the middle of the card, that's the brown strip with the Signet Ring icon. That's what allows me to use my Manipulate ability. So for my Manipulate ability, I'm going to be taking the Gene Manipulation card and setting that aside. So now only I can purchase this, and it would cost me 2 versus 3. And then a new card immediately gets revealed. And then I get to place one of my agents, and I'm going to place my agent at the Haga Basin. So because there's a water symbol down here, it's going to cost me 1 water to go here. So I'll come down here and say spend 1 water. But I get 2 spice. Now, if we look closely at the board, there's this little sword icon, cross swords icon. That means I can move up to 2 of my garrison troops into the conflict. The conflict is kind of the timer for the game. As soon as we run out of conflict cards, we have 9 of them here, that's going to signal the end of the game, or if somebody makes it all the way up to 10 victory points. And the first conflict here provides a victory point, so oops, that's not what I wanted to do. You go back. I want to add some troops into the conflict to try to win that. And that'll be my turn.
So I'm going to start by playing Dune the Desert Planet.
Ooh.
No, wait, no, I'm sorry. You stole that from me.
Yes, I did. Mwahaha.
Then I'll have to go with my backup scheme, Reconnaissance. And I will send a guy to Arakin, which will allow me to draw a card, gain a troop, and also put troops into play.
Yes. While he's getting that set up, I'll go ahead and tell you about another new rule. So if a location with cross swords provides you with a garrison troop, instead of putting it directly into your garrison, you can deploy it straight to the conflict. That is the difference between the cross swords locations and the non-cross swords locations. So over here in rally troops, because there's no cross swords, these 4 troops cannot be deployed directly into conflict. They would have to go into your garrison.
Correct. And because I gained a troop and I am on a cross sword space, I can put 3 troops directly into the garrison, causing me to be in an advantageous position in the conflict.
I don't like the way he phrased that. He can put the 1 directly into it and then move 2 from his garrison in. That's a more accurate way to say that.
The 1 troop comes from the gaining the cube, and the 2 comes from the cross swords icon.
Yes. All right. Anything else you'd like to be doing on this turn?
I mean, I would like you to both concede. Does that count?
You know what? That works for... wait. You know what?
I'm feeling a little bit pressured right now. I don't know if I can win this. I don't know if I can leverage my position.
You're using that presence ability, aren't you?
Alrighty. I play Diplomacy, which allows me to move to any of the faction the faction places.
Yes.
And I'm going to move...
you can afford the cost to move.
All right. So he's going to go to the still suits.
I'm going to go to the still suits, which lets me get a water.
Oh, a little button right here.
Oh, it's on the side. Thank you. And I do have a cross swords on this place, so I can contribute to the conflict, but I don't think that I can contest. I'm not going to try. So I'm not...
One thing, I'm sorry to interrupt your turn, but you should know that if you don't contribute at least 1 troop to the conflict, you don't qualify for a prize.
But with a 3-player game, I don't get a... There's no 3rd place anyway, so...
Wait, is that true?
That is true.
Am I mistaken about?
You are mistaken.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Yeah, it's only with 4-player that the 3rd place prize counts. So I'm not going to try to compete for 2nd place, even though the 2nd place water sounds pretty good. I think I'm just going to let you guys have this win. I'll let you use up your troops now, and maybe I'll contest for another conflict.
I think that's a wise choice.
Put this into this card. And I guess that's the end of my turn.
All right. I really liked your diplomacy play, so I'm going to do that too. But I will be going to visit the Bene Gesserit. So
Do you have 2 spice?
I do have 2 spice.
Nice.
So I will spend that 2 spice. This symbol means I get to trash a card from my hand, and then I get to draw 2 more cards. So
does it have to be your hand, or can you like trash your discard? I guess you don't want to trash diplomacy, right? But
I'm
is
not
it limited to just your hand?
100% sure. I've always thought of it as your hand.
We've always played it as your hand, but I don't know what the rules say.
Trash 1 card from your hand, discard pile, or in play. So yep. However, I am still going to be discarding from my hand. I'm going to be trashing Dune the desert planet. And then I get to draw 2 more cards. Pokey, you're up.
I'm up. I too will be playing Diplomacy.
Wow, 3-way tie.
And I'll be sending my guy to the Fremen space, Hardy Warriors. Now this costs me a water, but I gain 2 troops to my garrison, and I can immediately put more troops on the field, which I'm going to do.
Okay.
And since I have put more than 4 troops on the field in a turn, I'm going to reveal my faction choices.
Hang on a second. Don't reveal those just yet. I don't think that's what that means.
Okay, so for this turn I played Diplomacy, and I moved my agent to Hardy Warriors over on the Fremen side. And it allowed me to gain 2 troops to my garrison, which I did, and then I can put troops onto the field, the 2 that I gained, plus up to 2 more because of the cross swords. I misread the Master Stroke ability at first. I thought it was whenever 4 troops were deployed in one conflict, like during the round, is when I would get to reveal. And so that's why I planned my first 2 turns this way, but it's whenever you deploy 4 troops at once. If I had known it worked that way, I would have only done 1 troop when I did my first turn over up on Arakeen, and that way I could have done 4 on this turn. It wouldn't change anything that I've done, it would just change the number of troops that I put in the conflict at one time.
Yes. And so I went ahead and I moved that 1 troop back for you. And so because you've gone to Hardy Warriors on this turn, those 2 troops that you recruit, I can't get 2, but here we go. Those 2 troops you can deploy directly into the conflict, and then because of the cross swords, you can bring 2 more in. And so there we go.
Right. So that puts 4 troops in the conflict in 1 turn, which means I can reveal my Master Stroke and reveal the 2 factions that I have secret alliances with.
Oh, go
Those
figure.
factions are the Fremen and the Spacers Guild. So I go up 1 on the Fremen and gain a victory point. And I go up 1 on, not the Spacer Guild, I'm sorry, the Bene Gesserits. I go up 1 on the Bene Gesserits. It's not enough to gain me a victory point yet, but I'm getting there.
Good turn, good turn. All right, Harvest, you're up.
I'm going to play a dagger card, which has a pentagon on it, and I'm going to take my agent. I'm not going to grab him. I'm going to push this button, and I'm going to go to this. Can I go here?
You can.
There's no problem with me going here?
No problems.
Okay. And so I get 1 garrison troop added, 1 troop added to my garrison, and I gain 1 influence point for this round.
All right, so you can click this add. Yeah, nice.
Okay. Alrighty. Your turn.
All right. Because I'm out of agents, I have to do a reveal turn. So that means I reveal all the cards left in my hand, and the blue star field effects go off. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 influence. This card that I purchased earlier cost me 2 influence, so I will go ahead and purchase that. I have 3 influence remaining, so I will buy Jessica of Arrakis. And that... Oh, and I will also calculate my initial combat strength, which is 4. Every troop you have deployed into the conflict equals 2, and then any sword icons, like what we saw with Harvest Dagger, would be +1. I had no sword icon, so I stick at 4.
Good, good. I reveal 2 daggers, the Signet Ring, and Dune the Desert Planet, which basically amounts to 2 influence to buy cards and 2 extra swords.
Alright, you win, bro.
Yeah, I think I ran away with this conflict.
Alright, and with your 2 influence...
I will use that 2 influence to buy the Spice Hunter card.
Okay. Guild Ambassador. All right, Harvest, you're up.
Okay. Well, also have no more agents, so I'm going to reveal my hand. And I've got 3 influence points in my hands, plus the 1 that I got from going to the Hall of Places.
Oratory. The Hall of Speaking.
And I really wish I had taken my reveal phase earlier, so I could have grabbed Jessica, which was what I should have done. But I'm just going to grab the Guild Ambassador, I guess.
All right, an Imperial Spy has replaced his location. Oh, all right, so looking right here, we can see our round order. So after the player turns, we do the combat. At this step, because Pokey and I are in the conflict, we would have the ability to play conflict intrigue cards. However, neither of us have those, so we won't. Pokey has handily won the conflict, so he is going to get a victory point. I've gotten second place, so I will be taking a water token. And then
at this point in the game might actually be the better prize.
It's debatable. And then, as Harvest mentioned earlier, because it's a 3-player game, the third place reward does not go off. Now, here is a very good reason why Harvest did not want to attempt to influence the conflict. Everybody who's in the conflict loses all their troops. So even though Pokey won by 10 strength, all that additional strength just goes straight back into his reserve. Next thing,
I sacrificed a whole bunch of men for my masterstroke.
Yes, you did. And it's funny, because in the beginning you're like, I'll wait until it's the opportune time. Turn 1! But I know why you did it. You wanted to go to the Sitch Tabor early, so I understand.
Well, I was going to do the masterstroke thing on round 2, but you took Haga Basin from me, and that stopped my round 1 plan. Got it.
All right. Next thing that we do is the makers. So on all these spice manufacturing spots, there are the sandworm tokens. Any space that a person did not go to gets additional spice for the future turns. So now by going to the Imperial Basin, you can get 2 spice, and the Great Flat can provide you with 4 spice. And the last thing we do is recall all our workers. So all of our workers come back to hand. First player moves, and we have a new conflict. So the new conflict is the Siege of Carthage. And then we also have to draw 5 new cards. Glorious. The spice must flow, but we must take a break. The action will resume next time in Dune Imperium, but until then, if you enjoy the videos, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you'll be notified when the next video goes live. I'm excited to see what schemes our players have in store, and I hope you are too. Until then, annyeonghaseyo. I'm bored in Korea, and we'll see you next time.